welcome back to the Girly Girl Bookworm. So today I decided to do another author spotlight. I haven't done one of these in such a long time. If there's any authors that you know that I am obsessed with and you would like a spotlight for that I haven't done one for already, please let me know down below because I would love to do more of these. And today we are talking about none other than Riley Sager. So I figured he just recently came out with another book. I've read all of the books and I figured it's going to be probably another year before we get something else by him. So now's the perfect time to do a introduction to him. I feel like everybody has read him already, but also I felt like it would be good. Everybody always asks what's your favorite Riley Sager book? How do you rank them? Or just an introduction of who he is. I feel like he is the perfect getting into thrillers type of author because he very hardly misses. So I figured I would start with my favorite, or should I go least favorite? I'll go least favorite to favorite. See if you guys can figure it out. So my least favorite, and they're all good. I've given all of them 4.5, 5 stars. So you can't, I haven't gone wrong yet with him. But my least favorite that sticks out is Final Girls by Riley Sager. This was actually my first book by him. And I remember not being super impressed, but I remember giving it 4 stars. I could vividly, the one thing I love about Riley Sager's books is I could picture myself where I was when I was reading all of these books, and I can imagine all my feelings. I could see everything with my journey with him, which I think is so cool because I don't feel like that with all my other authors. I can't tell you where I read all my Diane Chamberlain books. I can't tell you where I read all my Denise Hunter books, but I could tell you where I read all of Riley's books, so which I think is really cool. But this one, you were following the final girls of massacres. Basically, in order to be a final girl, there's a big massacre, and you're basically the lonely survivor. And I believe there was 3 of them. And then they start kind of getting picked off one by one, and they're trying to figure out who's after them and why is this happening. And again, I really liked this one. I think that it was a little, I can't remember, I feel like it was a little more gruesome than I was expecting. There's a girl, one of the girls who comes to, they're both final girls, and one comes to the other one and is let's figure this out, let's do this. And I remember her being super manipulative and making the other character do things that were totally uncharacteristic for her, and that really kind of bothered me. So unfortunately this one ended up becoming my least favorite just because it sticks out as that 4-star wasn't my favorite, but it was still really, really good. It just stands out as one that I didn't love as much as others. Then my next favorite, so we go from my least favorite to my second least favorite, and that's Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. And again, nothing wrong with this one. I gave this one 5 stars. But this one, you are in a haunted house per se, where our main character grew up in this house, and she was there for 2 weeks, and her family got out, and her dad wrote this nonfiction novel about their time in the house and how it was super haunted and terrifying. And she's kind of lived her life not knowing if her parents were lying to her or if it was real. And her father ends up passing away, and he leaves her the house, which is weird because she thought they didn't own the house anymore. They had the house when she was a kid. So we're alternating perspectives between the chapters of her dad's book of what happened when she was living there and what's happening now when she goes back to the house to kind of try to fix it up and sell it and figure out what's going on. Now, the only reason why this one kind of makes it to my least-ish favorites is just because I don't really do dark, scary houses. There's a snake scene in here that I'm not into that type of scare. And that's just a preference thing. So again, this was a book that I devoured in one sitting. I think I read this in one day, and it's almost 400 pages. It's 400 pages. And I remember sitting there and just reading it and non-stop because I just had to know what was happening. So again, I really enjoyed this one as well. I like all of them. The one thing that I think that I really like about Riley Sager too is the fact that all 5 of his books are extremely different from one another too. They all are following, one has a haunted house and one has these final girls, and so they are very unique to themselves, which I also think stands out for him, that he's not just continually writing the exact same story over and over and over again. Now, my third favorite is Survive the Night by Riley Sager. This is really hard. Like, once you get to my top 3, like, it's so hard to choose because I loved all of them so much. So this one is one that I gave 5 stars. We are set in the 1990s. Now, this one is definitely an unpopular opinion. Like, most people don't like this book. I've seen so many 2, 3-star reads. So I think if you go into it kind of with an open mind and expecting the unexpected, I guess. I don't know. Like, with this one, it's totally different vibes from any of his other ones, which is why I almost wonder if that's why he got kind of like a cover change in this one, because it is such different vibes. This one, like I said, takes place in the 1990s. We're following our main character, Charlie, and there's a serial killer on the loose on her college campus, and they just murdered her best friend, and she just wants out. And she needs to get home. So she goes to this board where, like, it's like kind of a ride share board where you can find other people who are going similar directions than you, and you can, like, pay for gas and do a ride together. And she ends up getting a ride with this guy, and as she's driving with him, she's starting to have some feelings that he might actually be the serial killer. And this one was just so unique because there was a lot of film mentioned in here. There was a lot of obviously with no cell phones, that takes a lot of, like, that makes it almost extra scary because it feels like there's no way out. Because she really likes film, there's often times where she's not sure what's reality and what's in her head, because she will, like, create scenes out of nowhere and she's not sure what's real and what's not. She makes a lot of stupid decisions, but again, I mentioned this in one of my wrap-ups, if you haven't followed a wrap-up of mine, where I felt like she was written as a classic 1990s, like, scream horror film, like watching, like, Halloween, where you're just, like, screaming at her for making all these bad decisions, like, don't go in that closet because he's in that closet, like, different things like that, where, like, she just felt like one of those characters, like, you're supposed to be mad at the decision she's making, and the ending was an ending like no other. Something that I love about Riley's books is he often has, like, a double punch ending where, like, you think you have a twist, but then really you have another twist thrown right at you at the end, which I absolutely love. The epilogue just made the story, like, come all together. I was so sucked into the story that I felt like I wasn't even trying to make predictions. Like, I made a prediction 30 pages from the end, which I ended up being right with, but, like, I didn't even care to be making predictions until, like, they were happening, because I was just so sucked into this book. So there's that one. And then we've got Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. And I have to say that, like, this one, like, comes really close to first. Like, I feel like the top 3 can kind of get intermingled because I love them so for various different reasons. This one, we're following a girl, and she is basically told, hey, come live in this apartment complex. We'll pay you, like, totally, like, a total big amount of money to live here, but you have to follow our rules. No guests. You have to be back by, like, a certain time. Like, you have a curfew. You can't bring any of your own stuff, or, like, different things like that. Like, there's very, very strict rules. Don't talk to the neighbors. And this one was so good. I remember, like, ripping through this one because you alternate between 2 timelines. You're following a timeline where you know something really bad is happening to our character, but then you're also following the timeline of, like, leading up to that, of, like, when she's, like, naive and doesn't know anything's happening. And this was insane. Like, I remember when, like, the first, like, twist punch hits you, and then, like I said, he does a double twist punch at the end, and it just, I could not get enough of this book. Like, this was a book that, like, I could not turn the pages fast enough. We were on a vacation, and I remember just kind of being like, I, like, don't care where we are right now. Like, I'm in the car. I'm going to keep reading. I'm in the hotel room. I'm going to keep reading because I just needed to know what was going to happen because it was so gripping. So good. And then the last one, which is my top favorite, but like I said, I feel like the last 3 could just intermingle, but it's The Last Time I Lied. And in this one, we are following a girl, and when she was in summer camp, she was playing, like, this game, like, where they would tell like 2 truths and a lie and whatnot. And she was like the youngest girl in her cabin. And one night, the other girls leave the cabin and she's there alone, and they never come back. And she doesn't know what happened to them. And now it's years later, it's kind of always been on her mind. And the camp that she went to is reopening. And so she takes this chance to go be like an art instructor at this camp. And she really thinks that by becoming an art instructor at this camp, she'll be able to figure out what really happened to those girls, because she's never been able to let it go. Complete summer vibes. So if you wanted any of those for the summer, this is the one that has like the most like summer vibes to it. But yeah. So that is my author spotlight on Riley Sager, where I stand with him. Like I said, I have yet to be disappointed with a Riley Sager book. Like, there's not one in this pile that I would be like, no, like, don't read this one. Like, I stand behind every single one of his books, which is so crazy to me, because I have so many authors that I have, like, love-hate relationships with. Even some of my, like, favorite authors, there's still ones that I don't love as much as others. And with Riley, I just love them all. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys really soon. Bye, everybody.